The sky over Earth split open without warning. People across the world stopped whatever they were doing as a long, thin line of white fire appeared high above the clouds. At first, many thought it was only lightning or some strange weather. But the line grew wider. It glowed brighter. It hummed with a low, shaking sound that vibrated through windows and made pets hide under tables. In cities, crowds pointed at the strange light. In small towns, people stepped out of their homes and stared with confused worry. No one understood what was happening, but everyone felt the same cold fear inside. High above, in orbit, the restart codes of old satellites blinked out one by one. The machines did not break. They simply lost control, as if an invisible hand squeezed their systems. Power grids flickered. Communication networks stumbled. Air traffic towers cried in confusion as signals failed. The strange line of fire in the sky opened wider, like a wound tearing through space. And then, the first ship pushed through. It was enormous, like a mountain of dark metal sliding into sunlight. Its surface looked alive, covered with lines of moving symbols and glowing shapes. The moment the ship arrived, thunder rolled across continents, though there were no clouds to make it. The ship did not send a message. It did not speak. It only opened dozens of sharp, silver claws beneath its hull, claws that pointed straight toward Earth. Soldiers, governments, astronauts, scientists, every expert who saw the ship felt the truth immediately. This was not a visit. This was not a warning. This was an attack. The claws began to glow bright blue. On open streets, people screamed and ran for shelter as the huge ship fired. Blue beams shot downward like spears of lightning, smashing into empty fields, deserts, oceans, and thick forests. But then the second ship came through the tier. And a third. And then an entire fleet, dark, silent, and terrifying. They moved with perfect precision, forming lines and circles as if following a plan prepared long ago. Earth had been invaded in less than 10 minutes. All around the world, alarms blared. Leaders rushed into command centers. Fighter jets scrambled. Defense systems activated. But deep inside the panic, one thing stood out: the aliens were not sending demands. They were not trying to speak. They attacked with one simple goal: wipe out humanity quickly. But they did not expect what happened next. In a quiet mountain valley far from any big city sat a small, isolated research base. To the outside world, the base looked like an ordinary science facility. To most governments, it was nothing more than a high-energy physics lab that needed a lot of funding but produced few public results. Even the people who worked there believed they were studying odd particles and new measurement tools. Only 5 people inside the base knew the truth. For years, the base had been testing something strange. Not a weapon, not in the traditional sense, but something far more powerful, and far more dangerous. It was a machine built not to destroy, but to protect. A machine that could rewrite the rules of energy itself. A machine that could convert human will into force. A machine that, if used incorrectly, could erase entire armies. Humanity had never planned for war with aliens. But humanity had always prepared for danger, from itself, from nature, from the unknown. And this machine, hidden deep under the mountain, was the greatest secret Earth had ever kept. In the main control room, alarms flashed red. The 5 people with clearance gathered around the central console. Dr. Mara Lorne, the project leader, stared at the readings on the screen. Her face was usually calm, but now her hands trembled. She knew what the numbers meant. The alien fleet was not only attacking, they were scanning. Searching. Trying to find the machine. How did they know it exists? One of the engineers whispered. No one answered. There was no time. Outside the base, the sky glowed with the flashes of alien weapons. The ground shook. Metal groaned. Stones fell from the ceiling. The fleet was getting closer, and the valley would soon be hit. Dr. Lorne made her choice. Prepare the core, she said quietly. We activate it now. The room went silent. For years, they had trained for this moment, but none of them believed it would ever truly happen. The machine was powerful, but also unpredictable. Turning it on could save Earth. Or tear it apart. They rushed to their stations. Energy surged through thick cables. The mountain hummed like something alive. Lights flickered as the machine woke from its deep sleep. The aliens felt it. The closest ship suddenly turned, moving faster than before. The fleet had realized the danger. And then, the first alien beam struck the valley. The ground exploded. The blast tore through trees and rock. The base shook so hard that Dr. Lorne nearly fell over. But she did not let go of the final key in her hand. Another strike was coming. It would hit in seconds. She slammed the key into the console. The machine roared to life. A wave of white light burst outward, silent, bright, and unbelievably fast. It hit the attacking ships like a rising tide made of pure force. The ships froze. Their weapons blinked out. Their engines flickered in confusion, as if something stronger than their technology had grabbed them and held them still. And in that frozen moment, everywhere on Earth, people saw something incredible. The invaders were not untouchable. Humanity was not weak. The Empire had attacked Earth. And humanity was about to show them exactly what kind of species they had provoked. The alien fleet hung in the sky like broken statues. Their weapons were locked. Their engines were silent. Their lights flickered as if confused. For the first time since the invasion began, Earth had a moment of stillness, short, tense, and filled with fear. No one knew how long the effect would last. In the valley, smoke rose from the destroyed ground. The blast had torn apart the outer buildings of the research base, but the underground chamber still stood. Inside, the huge machine glowed with a soft white pulse. The air hummed with a deep vibration that felt like standing inside a giant heartbeat. Dr. Mara Lorne gasped for air. Her hands were shaking, her face pale, but she kept her focus on the readings. The machine had activated perfectly. Better than perfect, it was running at 70% power, far more stable than any test they had ever attempted. The others stared at the monitors. Their faces showed a mix of relief, terror, and something else. "Ah! We did it," whispered Engineer Tavin. "We actually stopped them." "No," Dr. Lorne said softly. "We only paused them." Her eyes scanned the data. The alien ships were already resisting the effect. Their systems were strong, far stronger than any human design. The freeze would not hold long. Maybe minutes. Maybe only seconds. "Charge the second cycle," she ordered. "We need to push them back before they break free." The machine's core brightened. Energy surged through the room like a wave of heat. But before she could say anything else, the ground shook again. A second alien blast hit the valley, but this time, it did not strike the base. Instead, it hit a hill outside, sliding off target. The fleet was waking up. Dr. Lorne felt her stomach twist. They had expected this. The machine could stun the fleet, but not control it forever. "They're adapting," she said. "The next wave will be stronger." Far above Earth, in orbit, the alien commander struggled against invisible pressure. To its species, emotions were rare. But this strange human weapon, triggered something close to fear. The fleet had studied 1,000 worlds. They had crushed civilizations with ease. No species had ever frozen their ships like statues. The commander released a sharp, metallic sound. A command signal rippled across the fleet, ordering all ships to break the hold. The ships woke faster. Their weapons flared. The next attack was seconds away. Back in the base, alarms turned red. Numbers on the screens jumped wildly. The machine was still charging, but not fast enough. "They're going to fire again," Tavin said. "This time, they won't miss." Dr. Lorne pressed her lips together and made her choice. "Open the core limiters." Everyone stared at her. "But that will overload the system," another engineer warned. "Yes," she said. "But if we don't, there won't be a system left to protect." Her fingers flew across the controls. The machine responded with a sharp crackle, and the white glow turned into a blinding sphere of light. The mountain trembled. Wind whipped through the underground chamber, even though there were no windows. The machine was no longer just active, it was alive. The second cycle hit full charge. And then the aliens fired. Blue energy rained down on the valley. The beams hit the mountain and exploded into shockwaves that echoed across the land. The base shook violently. Equipment fell from shelves. Sparks rained from broken wires. The lights flickered. But the machine did not break. It pushed back. The white light burst outward again, stronger than before, wider, faster, and filled with a strange, forceful pressure. It wasn't just physical energy. It was something deeper. Something the aliens could not understand. Something born from humanity's will to survive. As the wave hit the fleet, the alien ships jerked backward in the sky as if shoved by invisible hands. The beams they fired bent away, crashing into empty space. The ships' hulls groaned under the force. Earth watched in disbelief as the entire alien fleet moved, not slowly, not slightly, but violently, thrown kilometers away in seconds. The aliens tried to stabilize themselves, but the wave's pressure kept pushing. Their engines buckled. Their shields collapsed. Their formation broke apart. Inside the base, Tavin stared at the screens with wide eyes. "We're pushing them out of orbit," he whispered. "No," Dr. Lorne said. "We're kicking them out." And she was right. The wave surged again, even stronger. It swept across the sky like a rising storm. The alien ships tumbled backward, sliding away from Earth's sky, forced into the upper edges of space. Even the giant flagship, the mountain-sized behemoth, shuddered under the pressure. The alien commander screamed orders, trying to hold the fleet together. But there was nothing to hold on to. The human machine was something new. Something powerful. Something built in secret, far beyond what alien intelligence had predicted. For the first time, the Empire felt fear. And Earth felt hope. Then the wave stopped. The machine dimmed. The fleet hung far above Earth, damaged, scattered, but no longer frozen. A moment of silence. A moment where anything could happen. Dr. Lorne looked at the dimming readings and whispered, "We only bought time. They will come again. And next time, they won't underestimate us." The air inside the research base felt heavy. Dust floated down from cracks in the ceiling. The lights flickered as the machine's core slowly cooled. Everyone stared at the screen showing the alien fleet drifting far above Earth, damaged, but not gone. The silence felt like standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting to fall. Dr. Mara Lorne rubbed her forehead. Her head hurt from the machine's energy vibrations, but she forced herself to stay focused. "Status," she said. Cavan checked his console. "The core is stable, but output is low. If we try another full wave, we might overload everything." "How long until the aliens recover?" she asked. He swallowed. "Minutes. Maybe less." The others looked at each other nervously. They had pushed back an entire invasion, but only for a short moment. The alien ships were rearranging their formation. Some were repairing damage. Others were charging weapons again. Earth had won the first exchange, but the battle was far from over. Above the planet, the alien commander hissed in anger. The strange human energy had struck its fleet like a tidal wave, bending weapons, damaging engines, and throwing ships off course. This was not how an empire, the Empire, was supposed to be treated. Their species had conquered hundreds of worlds. They were feared, respected, obeyed. But humans had humiliated them within minutes. The commander's eyes glowed as it gave new orders. Their next strike would be stronger. Their weapons would be in full power. They would burn Earth to ash if needed. They would not allow a young species to challenge them. Back in the base, an alarm beeped sharply. "They're powering something large," Tavan said, staring at the readings. "It's not a normal beam. It's something huge." Dr. Lorne leaned closer. Her breath caught. "That's a planet cracker charge." Everyone froze. A planet cracker was exactly what it sounded like. A weapon meant to split worlds. The Empire rarely used it, they preferred to conquer planets, not destroy them. But this time, their pride had been wounded. Their enemy had dared to push them back. Now, the Empire intended to make an example of Earth. "We can't stop that," one engineer whispered. "Not with our current power." Dr. Lorne felt the truth hit her like a punch. The machine was humanity's greatest creation, but it wasn't ready. It wasn't finished. They had activated it early, forced it to fight before it was fully stable. Another full wave could blow the core apart, but if they did nothing, Earth would be gone in minutes. Her mind raced. There was one option, one dangerous, reckless option. Something they had never tested with real power. Something that might save humanity, or destroy the base instantly. She turned to Tavan. "We need to try the amplifier sequence." His eyes widened. "Mara, no. The amplifier is unstable. It could collapse the core. It could also increase our output by 300%, she said. Enough to counter the planet cracker. Or enough to tear us into dust." She looked at him with steady eyes. "Either way, Earth survives or Earth dies. There is no safe path." The room fell silent. No one argued. They all knew she was right. "Start the amplifier sequence," she ordered. Cavan hesitated, only for a heartbeat, and then began typing commands. The machine's hum changed. The floor vibrated. The walls shook. The white glow around the core grew brighter, almost too bright to look at. Outside the base, the air began to swirl. Leaves and dust lifted in spinning circles. Animals ran from the valley. The mountain itself groaned like something ancient waking from a long sleep. Above, the alien fleet's massive weapon continued to charge. Blue lightning arced across its surface. It glowed with deadly power. If it fired, the entire planet would burn. Inside, Dr. Lorne watched the rising energy levels. "Hold it steady," she said, though she knew none of them truly had control. The machine was beyond them now. It was like trying to hold onto a storm with bare hands. The amplifier sequence reached 40%. The ceiling cracked. At 60%, sparks burst from cables. At 75%, a blast of hot air struck everyone in the room. At 80%, alarms screamed. And still, Dr. Lorne kept going. Push it to 100%. We only get one chance. Cavan's hands shook as he forced the system higher. 90%. The alien fleet prepared to fire. 95. The huge flagship aimed at Earth's surface. 97. Fire in 3, the alien commander hissed to its crew. 2. The machine hit 100%. A white explosion of light filled the entire chamber. For a moment, no one could see or hear anything. It was as if the world had become pure energy. The blast shot upward, through the mountain, through the clouds, through the atmosphere, rising like a comet made of human will. The alien flagship fired. 2 beams, one blue and one white, met in the upper atmosphere. The sky tore open with thunder. The beams collided, pushing against each other. Blue against white. Empire against humanity. The force spread across the sky in waves that shook oceans and sent windstorms across continents. The alien commander watched in horror as the white beam held strong. Held firm. Held undefeated. Earth had matched a planet cracker. And then, slowly, the white beam began to push forward. The aliens screamed as their ship's weapon bent, buckled, and finally shattered under the pressure. Energy burst backward into the alien fleet. Ships spun out of control. Engines exploded. Weapons failed. Humanity had done the impossible. They had turned the Empire's greatest weapon against them. High above Earth, the alien flagship burned. Its massive weapon melted from inside, spilling blue fire into space. Shock waves rolled across the fleet, shaking every ship. Smaller vessels spun wildly. Others crashed into each other as they tried to avoid the blast. The once perfect formation of the Empire now looked like a broken swarm. Inside the command chamber of the flagship, alarms flashed in harsh red. The alien commander pushed itself upright. Its body trembled. Parts of its armor were cracked from the feedback explosion. It stared at the ruined weapon that had been meant to destroy Earth in a single strike. Impossible. Unthinkable. The humans had overpowered a planet cracker. The commander shouted orders to stabilize the ship, but it already knew the truth. The humans had a weapon no empire had ever faced. Something new. Something dangerous. Something that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. For the first time, the commander felt a cold fear crawl through its spine. Below, inside the mountain base, Dr. Mara Lorne collapsed against the console. Her breath came in short, painful gasps. The machine's light dimmed, shrinking from a sun-like glow to a soft pulse. Smoke filled the room. Sparks still fell from broken panels. The amplifier sequence had pushed the machine far beyond safe limits. But the core was still intact. Cavan crawled to her side. Mara. Are you okay? She nodded weakly. Report. Tell me the status. He checked the screens. They flickered, but still worked. The alien weapon is destroyed. Their fleet is damaged. But. He hesitated. But what? She asked. They're not retreating. His voice was quiet, tense. They're regrouping. Dr. Lorne forced herself to stand. She leaned on the console, staring at the monitors. The alien ships were scattered, but they were reorganizing fast. The Empire was not used to losing. And when powerful empires felt cornered, they became desperate. We need another strike, she said. Cavan shook his head. We can't. The core is too weak. If we fire even a half-strength wave, we might blow up the entire valley. She knew he was right. The machine had saved Earth twice already, but now it was exhausted, like a heart that had beat too hard and too fast. The base shook violently. What was that? Someone yelled. Another tremor hit. This one stronger. The screens updated with new readings. Cavan's face went pale. They're firing smaller weapons, thousands of shots. They're trying to crack the mountain open. Of course they were. If they couldn't destroy Earth from orbit, they would destroy the machine directly. The ground above roared as repeated impacts struck the mountainside. Rocks tumbled down. Dust fell from the ceiling. Parts of the tunnel groaned, bending under pressure. One engineer screamed, "The entrance tunnel is gone. We're sealed in." Dr. Lorne closed her eyes for a brief second. The Empire had changed tactics. They couldn't afford another direct fight with the machine, so they would break it by brute force. Kill the humans. Crush the base. Remove the threat. Cavan, she said, we need to move the core to emergency mode. It will reduce power, but the shield might protect us from the bombardment. He hesitated. That shield will only last a few minutes. It's all we have. They activated the emergency mode. The machine's glow shifted from bright white to deep silver. A soft dome of shimmering energy spread out around the chamber, protecting the core and everyone inside. Outside, more explosions struck the mountain. Massive pieces of stone fell away. Dust filled the air. Animals fled. Trees burned. Inside the dome, the base trembled but held steady. For now, Dr. Lorne whispered. Far above, the alien commander struggled to keep control of the fleet. The human's weapon had shocked them all, but the commander refused to retreat. To retreat would be shame. To retreat would mean punishment from the Empire itself. Failure was not an option. Prepare boarding craft, the commander ordered. If we cannot destroy them from orbit, we destroy them on the ground. Hundreds of small ships broke away from the fleet. Sleek, sharp, and fast. They dove toward Earth like falling stars. Inside the base, new alarms sounded. Haven looked at the radar. Dropships, he said urgently. Hundreds. They're coming here. Every person in the room felt the same chill. The aliens were coming in person. The Empire wanted the machine, and they were willing to send soldiers to get it. Dr. Lorne steadied herself. We need to hold them back. Delay them as long as possible. But how? Someone asked. She stared at the dim machine core. We don't fight them with weapons. We fight them with time. Every minute we survive is another minute the machine recovers. Recover? Haven asked. You think it can? She nodded. If the core stabilizes, even a small pulse could wipe out the entire landing force. We just need to survive until then. Outside the dome, the mountain continued to break apart. Pieces of rock crashed down the slopes. Fire lit the sky. And through the smoke, the first alien dropships landed in the valley, sleek, metallic, and full of soldiers ready to take the fight directly to humanity's last hope. Earth had pushed the Empire back. Now the Empire was coming for revenge. Alien dropships slammed into the valley like falling metal claws. Each one hit the ground with a loud thud, kicking up dirt and smoke. Their doors unfolded with sharp, mechanical clicks. Tall, armored soldiers marched out in perfect lines, their weapons glowing with cold blue light. They did not roar. They did not shout. They moved in silence, fast, focused, deadly. Inside the broken mountain base, the trembling grew stronger. Dust fell from the ceiling. The emergency shield flickered as the machine core tried to stay stable. Dr. Mara Lorne wiped sweat from her forehead. Her eyes were locked on the glowing numbers on the screen. How long until the core regains enough power for a pulse? She asked. Haven checked the readings. At least 20 minutes. Maybe more. Dr. Lorne stared at the countdown. Outside, alien soldiers were already spreading across the valley. 20 minutes felt like forever. A loud boom echoed through the tunnels. What was that? An engineer cried. Haven's hands flew across the keyboard. They're using tunneling charges. They want to cut through the rock and get into the chamber. The mountain shook again. Another blast, then another. We need to slow them down, Dr. Lorne said. She looked at the emergency team, scientists, technicians, and a few armed guards. They were tired, frightened, but still willing to fight. We cannot let them reach the core, she continued. If they take or destroy it, Earth loses everything. The guards nodded. They grabbed rifles, strapped on armor, and ran toward the outer tunnels. In the valley, alien squads marched forward. Their suits made them look like giant shadows, smooth and metallic. Their weapons glowed. Their movements were too perfect, too precise. Every step was planned. Every formation tight. The first group reached the cracked entrance of the tunnel. The guards waited inside, using fallen rock as cover. The aliens entered without hesitation. Blue shots lit the dark tunnels. Sparks flew from stone walls. The guards fired back, their bullets flashing through the shadows. The sounds mixed together, shouting, weapons, explosions, boots on rock. Despite being outmatched, the guards fought hard. They slowed the aliens. Every second counted. Back in the control room, Dr. Lorne watched the core's energy levels rise slowly. Too slowly. We won't make 20 minutes, she whispered. Haven't heard her. We need help. Something else. Anything. But there was nothing. The machine was the only thing that could stop the Empire. And it was still too weak. The mountain shook yet again. This time the floor cracked under their feet. Lights flickered wildly. Reinforcements, Haven said. More dropships. A lot more. He wasn't wrong. Outside, dozens of new ships landed in waves. The Empire wanted this valley. They wanted the machine. And they were willing to send hundreds of soldiers to take it. Inside the tunnels, the guards were now falling back. Alien blasts punched holes through the walls. More soldiers poured in. The humans fought bravely, but the aliens moved with machine-like precision, always pushing forward. Fall back to the secondary barrier. The guard captain shouted. They retreated deeper inside, leaving sensor mines that blew when the aliens stepped over them. The explosion slowed the advance, but did not stop it. In the control room, Dr. Lorne felt a sharp tremor. A wall cracked open, scattering pieces of stone across the floor. That was close, someone whispered. Cavan stared at the scanner. They've reached the last tunnel before this chamber. Too fast. They were coming too fast. We need to buy more time, Dr. Lorne said. Her voice broke slightly, not from fear, but from frustration. We're so close. The guard captain's voice crackled through the intercom. Dr. Lorne, we'll hold them as long as we can. Just get that machine ready. He sounded tired, but determined. Another explosion rocked the tunnel. Screams echoed. Alien roars mixed with gunfire. Dr. Lorne felt sick. She hated that people were dying to protect something she had built. But she also knew they were fighting for all of humanity. The core reached 40% power. Still far too low. Cavan looked at her. Even at 60%, we might push them back. We don't need full strength. I know, she said. But we need to survive long enough to reach 60%. A loud crash came from the last tunnel. Metal clanged. Something heavy fell. Then, the sound they feared, alien footsteps entering the final chamber tunnel. Dr. Lorne's chest tightened. This was it. The aliens were at the door. But then something unexpected happened. The machine, still weak, still dim, gave a sudden pulse. Just a flicker. Just a soft wave of white energy. Too small to do any real damage. But it spread through the chamber like a small gust of wind. The alien soldiers in the front of the tunnel froze. For 1 second. 2 seconds. Then they began to move again, but slower. Hesitating. Cavan, Dr. Lorne said quietly, did you see that? He nodded. Yes, the core might react to the aliens. Maybe their energy signatures disturb it. She stared at the machine. A new idea forming. A dangerous idea. A crazy idea. What if, she whispered, the machine doesn't need full power to affect them? What if it only needs power to amplify their presence? Cavan blinked. You mean? Use the aliens as fuel? She nodded slowly. If the machine can echo their energy back at them, even a weak pulse might become strong. It could work, Cavan whispered. Or it could destroy us. It doesn't matter, Dr. Lorne said. Because if we do nothing, we all die anyway. Outside the chamber, alien footsteps grew louder. They were seconds away. And Dr. Lorne placed her hand on the core console, ready to attempt the most dangerous gamble humanity had ever made. The alien footsteps echoed louder in the tunnel, metallic, steady, and terrifying. Their shadows flickered on the cracked stone walls as they approached the final barrier. The guards who remained stood in a tight formation, bruised, exhausted, but still fighting. They knew they were the last line between the Empire and the machine. Inside the core chamber, Dr. Mara Lorne pressed her shaking hands against the console. The glowing numbers rose so slowly it felt like torture. 53%. 54. Still not enough. But the aliens were seconds away from breaking in. We have to try it now, she said. Cavan stared at her. Mara. If the machine pulls too much energy, it will explode, she finished. Yes. But if the aliens reach the core, they'll kill us before we even feel it. The room trembled again. Dust rained from the ceiling. The last metal barrier in the tunnel groaned as alien soldiers struck it from the other side. Dr. Lorne's voice tightened. Prepare the resonance channel. Cavan swallowed hard, then began entering the commands. The machine's glow shifted from silver to a strange pale blue. The hum deepened into a low vibration that made the floor shake. Every person in the room felt it in their bones. Channel open, Cavan said. Dr. Lorne took a long breath. Begin the echo test. The machine responded instantly. A small pulse of soft energy rippled outward, not strong, not bright, but precise. It touched the tunnel entrance like a cool breeze. The aliens on the other side froze. Their bodies jerked slightly, their armor flickering with distorted colors. It was as if the pulse confused them, scrambling their signals. It worked, Cavan whispered. His voice trembled with excitement. But Dr. Lorne shook her head. That was only a test. To make this work, we need more aliens close to the chamber. The machine needs more signatures. As if answering her, the last tunnel barrier broke with a thunderous crash. Metal flew across the floor. And the alien soldiers marched in. The guards opened fire immediately. Bullets sparked against alien armor. Blue energy shots pierced the air. The chamber turned into chaos, noise, flashes, screams, dust, smoke. The aliens moved fast, forcing the guards back step by step. Now, Mara, Tavin yelled. They're close enough. She slammed her hand onto the console. Activate the echo. The machine lit up. The hum became a roar. A wave of pale blue energy burst outward, not violent, not explosive, but sharp and focused. The first alien soldier stepped into the energy wave. Its body froze mid-stride. Its armor flickered like a broken screen. Then everything inside the alien went silent. Its weapons dimmed. Its eyes darkened. And it collapsed to the floor like an empty suit. The guard stared in shock. What was that? One whispered. Another alien stepped into the wave. It dropped instantly. Then another. And another. Tavin's hands flew over the controls. The machine is feeding on them. Every alien inside the field gives the core more power. The numbers jumped. 60%, 68, 74, 80. The machine glowed brighter with each alien that fell. It didn't even need to attack them. Their own energy made them shut down like broken toys. But the Empire soldiers were not fools. They quickly realized what was happening. Those outside the chamber hesitated. They switched weapons. New bright modules slid onto their rifles. Tavin's eyes widened. They're adapting. They're going to try a disruptor bolt. The disruptor bolt was designed to scramble energy shields. If enough hit the dome, it would collapse instantly. Mara, he said urgently, we have maybe 30 seconds. She looked at the core. 85%. 89. 92. We need 95, she whispered. That's the minimum to release a full area pulse. The aliens outside aimed their disruptors. 20 seconds, Tavin shouted. The guards kept firing, buying time. Bodies lay across the floor, alien and human. Smoke choked the air. The core glowed like a rising star. 93%. 94. A disruptor bolt slammed into the energy dome. The shield rippled like water hit by a stone. Then another bolt. And another. The dome flickered dangerously. Mara, Tavin cried. 95, she yelled. The dome shattered. But at the same moment, she hit the release key. Firing full area pulse. The machine exploded with white light, vast, pure, blinding. The pulse rushed across the chamber, through the tunnels, and into the open valley. Every alien hit by the light froze mid-movement. Their armor flickered and cracked. Their weapons powered down. Their bodies collapsed. The pulse kept going. It raced upward, tearing through clouds, striking the hundreds of dropships hovering above the valley. They seized mid-air, engines dying, falling like dead birds. The remaining alien fleet in orbit saw the wave coming and tried to pull back, but it was too fast. The pulse hit them like a silent storm. Ships jerked wildly. Shields burned out. Weapons shut down. Entire cruisers lost control, drifting helplessly. And deep inside the alien flagship, the commander clutched its console in panic as every system on the ship went dark. Earth had unleashed a weapon stronger than anything the Empire had ever faced. And now, the Empire was finally afraid. And the real battle was about to begin. The white pulse faded slowly, leaving the entire valley in silence. Smoke drifted in thin lines through the air. Broken rock lay scattered across the ground. The mountain looked wounded, cracked from the violent battle. But the alien soldiers, those who had not already fallen, lay motionless where they had stood. Their armor no longer glowed. Their weapons were dark. Inside the core chamber, the survivors stared at the screens in disbelief. The machine hummed softly now, no longer angry or wild. Its glow had settled into a steady, gentle light. The storm was over. Dr. Mara Lorne let out a breath she felt she had been holding for hours. She sank to the floor, her back against the console. Her whole body trembled. She was exhausted, bruised, and covered in dust, but she was alive. Tavin dropped beside her. His face was pale, but he smiled weakly. We did it, he whispered. Mara. We actually did it. Earth did it, she corrected softly. All of us. Above, the alien fleet drifted helplessly in space. Their engines were dead. Their weapons were offline. Their communications were silent. They were not destroyed, but they were defeated. Their entire invasion force had been neutralized by a planet they had expected to conquer easily. Far inside the flagship, the alien commander struggled to lift itself. Its limbs shook. Its armor no longer responded. The light inside its eyes flickered weakly. This defeat was more than military. It was shame. Pure, unstoppable shame. The Empire did not lose. They did not retreat. They did not fail. Until now, it looked through the cracked viewing window at the blue planet below. Humans. A species they had barely studied. A species they assumed was young, weak, primitive. But humans had shown something the Empire did not understand. Not power. Not technology. But will. A force the Empire had never faced. A force they had never prepared for. As the commander lay on the floor, unable to move, it realized one terrible truth. This battle would echo across the galaxy. And the Empire would never be the same. Back in the mountain, the guards slowly returned to the chamber. Some limped. Some had burns or cuts. But all of them were alive. They looked at Dr. Lorne with wide eyes, some filled with gratitude, others with disbelief. "You saved the world," the guard captain said. Dr. Lorne shook her head gently. "No. We survived because everyone fought. Because every person did their part." The machine pulsed behind her, as if agreeing. Cavan stood and helped her to her feet. "The core is stable now," he said. "Much more stable than before. Almost like it learned." Dr. Lorne stared at the glowing sphere. She felt a strange connection to it, not fear, not pride, but respect. They had pushed it far beyond its limits. Yet it had protected them. It had adapted. Changed. It was no longer just a machine. It understood what we needed, she whispered. It responded to us. Cavan nodded. It's alive in its own way. Outside, the valley slowly quieted. Birds cautiously returned to burned trees. The wind carried the faint smell of smoke, but also the fresh scent of rain. Clouds gathered, dark and heavy, as if the sky wanted to wash away the scars of the battle. The world had been seconds away from destruction. And now it stood stronger than ever. Dr. Lorne stepped outside the broken entrance, looking up at the sky. The alien ships floated above like dead leaves on water. They were silent, powerless, harmless. She wondered what the Empire would do when word of this defeat reached them. Would they attack again? Would they seek revenge? Or would they fear Earth now? Cavan joined her. If they send reinforcements. They won't, she said quietly. How can you be sure? She looked at the disabled fleet. Because no empire likes to throw itself into a fire. And right now, that's what we are to them. Word of Earth's impossible victory would travel fast. Other empires would hear it. Other species would whisper about the humans, the tiny world at the edge of space that survived the Empire's wrath. And the Empire, once feared across the galaxy, now had a reason to hesitate. Dr. Lorne placed her hand on the warm surface of the machine's core. It pulsed softly under her touch, like a heartbeat. We won't attack them, she said. We won't hunt them. But we will be ready. Because now they know Earth is not prey. Cavan smiled. Earth is the hunter. No, she corrected gently. Earth is the survivor. And survivors are dangerous. Behind them, the first drops of rain began to fall, dripping onto broken stone and the still bodies of alien soldiers. The rain washed away dust, soot, and ash. It washed away fear. Earth was wounded, but alive. And as long as humanity stood together, no empire in the galaxy would ever take Earth lightly again. The humans had shown the universe a lesson it would never forget. If you attack Earth, Earth will fight back. And Earth will win. Rain fell softly over the broken valley, washing away dust and smoke. The world felt strangely quiet after such a massive battle. The alien ships still floated helplessly above Earth, powerless and drifting. For the first time since the invasion began, the planet felt safe. But safety did not mean peace. Inside the damaged base, engineers and guards worked to clear debris. Some carried injured teammates to temporary medical tents, others tried to repair communication systems so they could report what had happened to the rest of the world. Every person felt the same mix of relief and exhaustion. Dr. Mara Lorne walked through the chamber carefully. The core glowed gently, almost like it was resting. The hum was soft now, calm. But even in its weakened state, the machine felt alive. It had changed during the battle, adapted, grown, and reacted to danger in ways no human had planned. Cavan approached her with a tablet covered in cracked glass. Mara, he said, we need to talk. Is something wrong? She asked. He shook his head, though his expression was troubled. Not wrong. But different. He turned the tablet so she could see the readings. The core's power isn't decreasing anymore. It's going up. She frowned. That shouldn't happen. It should be cooling. I know, Cavan said. But it's doing the opposite. It's rebuilding itself. She looked at the glowing sphere again. This time, something felt off, not dangerous, but unusual. The light inside it shifted slowly, like a slow-moving flame. Before she could say anything, the ground trembled under her feet. A guard ran into the chamber. Dr. Lorne. You need to come outside. Something's happening. She and Tavin hurried out of the tunnel, stepping into the wet air. The rain fell harder now, but the sky above was brighter than before. Clouds parted slightly, revealing the damaged alien fleet still floating above. But the ships were moving. Very slowly, but moving. One cruiser rotated awkwardly, drifting toward a larger vessel. Another began sinking lower into the atmosphere. Pieces of broken hull floated around them like debris in water. "They're falling," Tavin whispered. But the guard shook his head. "Not just falling. Look." Dr. Lorne squinted at the ships. It took her a moment, but then she saw it too, small flashes of light across the hulls. Strange flickers, tiny, rapid movements. "They're rebooting," she said. Her voice went cold. "They're trying to restart their systems." Tavin exhaled sharply. "They'll never get full power back, not after the pulse. But if even one ship activates weapons again." "We're not ready for another fight," Dr. Lorne finished. The core was recovering, yes. But it wasn't strong enough for another large wave yet. And the base was too damaged to withstand another attack. "We need to stop them before they repair themselves," she said. "Stop them how?" Tavin asked. "Send jets up there? Missiles? We can't even reach half of those ships." She knew he was right. Earth's normal weapons might damage one or two ships. But the rest were too far, too high, or too armored. Tavin lowered his voice. "There is one option. But you're not going to like it." She turned to him, confused. "What?" He swallowed. "We link the core directly to the fleet." Her eyes widened. "Tavin, no. That's impossible. There's too much distance. Too much interference." "Normally yes," he said. "But after the pulse, the ships are already connected. Their systems all have the same echo signature. If we amplify that signature, the core might be able to send a targeted surge." Dr. Lorne stared at him. "You want to hit every ship at once?" "Yes," he said. "A synchronized shutdown." "It could overload the core," she warned. "It could also keep the Empire from ever calling for reinforcements." She looked back at the valley. Soldiers carried wounded teammates. Medical teams worked on injured guards. People who had fought and almost died for Earth's survival. Then she looked at the sky. At the damaged alien ship slowly waking up. If one of those ships managed to send a message across the stars, the Empire would know everything. Earth's strength, Earth's weapon, Earth's victory. And they would come again. She took a deep breath. "Prepare the link." Tavin nodded and ran back into the base. Minutes later, the core chamber glowed brighter than before. The core rose slightly into the air, held up by its own energy. Blue and white light swirled inside it like a tiny storm. Tavin worked fast at the console. "Link channel ready," he said. "Targeting the fleet." Dr. Lorne stepped beside him. "On my mark." The chamber filled with humming energy. Sparks danced across the floor. The walls vibrated. The core pulsed rapidly, like a heart beating too fast. Above the valley, the alien ships glowed faintly as their systems tried to reboot. Dr. Lorne placed her hand on the control key. "For Earth," she whispered. Then she slammed the key down. The core burst with light, white, blue, silver, all at once. A beam shot upward, thin at first, then wide as a storm cloud. It hit the sky like lightning traveling in reverse. Every alien ship froze. Their lights flickered. Their engines sparked. And then, one by one, they all went dark. The flagship, the cruisers, the dropship still hovering, all drifted lifelessly in orbit. No power. No movement. No signals. Earth had not just survived. Earth had silenced the entire invasion fleet. Dr. Lorne fell to her knees, exhausted. Tavin caught her before she collapsed. "It's done," he whispered. She nodded weakly. "It's done." The battle was over. For now. But across the galaxy, the Empire would soon learn the truth. And when they did, humanity would no longer be a quiet, unnoticed species. Humans had stepped onto the galactic stage. And the galaxy would never be the same again.